Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the Online Series 12 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we're trying out the hyper offense team that Nathan Sitler used to finish second at the Milwaukee Regional Championships a couple of weekends ago. It's a really fun hyper offense team that features Clefairy, and so yeah, I think that this team can really win games very, very quickly and has so much, just strong offense on its side. So huge thank you to Nathan for the team. I've linked his Twitter down in the description below. Go check him out, give him a follow, and Rental and Paste are also down there, courtesy of him if you want to try out the team yourself. So as always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the teim, but if you want to just skip to the battle, check out the timestamps in the description below. Thank you so much as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please share your support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. And in honor of using Clefairy today, question of the day, I want to know what Pokemon you think deserves a baby evolution. So let me know in the comment section below, and let's break down the team. So, the general idea behind this team is you want to move before your opponent can move and just overwhelm them with offense before they even get a chance to attack you. So, starting off, we've got the Specs Calyrex-S Shadow Rider, right? And the idea behind Specs Calyrex is that it just does so much more damage than you normally expect it to, because most players expect, the damage range from something like a Focus Sash. So this can really just get you over the edge on picking up knockouts, especially when you support it with Clefairy, which has Helping Hand support here, right? And so the general concept is Calyrex is incredible as a late game sweeper, especially with Choice Specs, because with Choice Specs, there just aren't that many Pokemon that can actually reliably, take attacks from Calyrex. Even things like Incineroar and Grimmsnarl are taking, 30% plus from Calyrex, right? So if you're able to chip away enough at them, the Calyrex can come out and really just end the game. So you've got Astral Barrage and Expanding Force. Those are standard. The other two moves here are Leaf Storm and Trick Room. Leaf Storm is on this team because Gastrodon is a huge pain for Kyogre, and so there's actually 3 Grass-type attacks on the team. Leaf Storm on Calyrex, Solar Beam on Charizard for max overgrowth, and then Energy Ball on Whimsicott here as well. And so, yeah, the Leaf Storm is really valuable into Gastrodon specifically, because otherwise Storm Drain's a really big issue for Kyogre. And then you have Trick Room to potentially reverse opposing Trick Rooms, because the nature of a hyper-offense team like this is if Trick Room goes up, it can be a pretty big nightmare, right? So with Calyrex here, you could lead it in the early game, something like Regieleki Calyrex works, right? Because you can just Dynamax, Max Airstream, or Max Darkness, and then further enable Calyrex, and Aleki can break through Focus Sashes with this, or lower your opponent's special defense, like I mentioned. So that combo is valuable. Something like Clefairy and Calyrex is interesting as well, because you can just go for Helping Hand plus Astral Barrage. We have to talk about Clefairy a little bit here. It's mainly used for a couple of reasons. First of all, Redirection, obviously really valuable, but you also have Friend Guard and Helping Hand. So this means you could lead anything like Clefairy Charizard, Clefairy Aleki, Clefairy Kyogre, Clefairy Calyrex. These are all possible leads. Friend Guard protects these Pokemon from taking more damage, and then Helping Hand support's really valuable. You also have After You here, which is a really important move to call out, because the After You basically is used to really help out against Trick Room, right? The nature of a team like this is it's super fast-paced, super offensive, and so if Trick Room goes up, you're normally going to be in a ton of trouble, especially given the lack of protects on Pokemon like Aleki and Calyrex, and you're so frail. So the idea is if you're going up against a team that you think will set up Trick Room, Clefairy then can actually use After You under Trick Room, and Clefairy is so slow here that you're outspeeding almost everything under Trick Room, right? So that means you could use Clefairy and After You a Kyogre Water Spout and immediately, KO your opponents, or Clefairy, Calyrex, and After You combinations. So I think Clefairy here, valuable for redirection support, valuable for Friend Guard, and then also valuable into the Trick Room matchup in particular. So talked about Specs Calyrex. This is just Life Orb Kyogre, Water Spout, modest, almost max special attack. And so this thing just hits like an absolute monster, right? I think this is almost as powerful as you can get in terms of Kyogre's damage output. And a lot of players these days either expect, like Mystic Water or Assault Vest. And so with Life Orb and Water Spout here, you just do so much damage. You even have the potential to, get a one-hit knockout in rain against Dynamax like Assault Vest Groudon, right? And so this thing is just an absolute beast in terms of damage output. And instead of Thunder, you have Origin Pulse here because Aleki exists for opposing Kyogres, and you have Sunny Day on the Whimsicott. And so with Origin Pulse, this means you don't have to rely solely on Water Spout as your main means of damage. Because the main problem when you use Life Orb Kyogre and Water Spout is if Kyogre takes a lot of damage immediately, you don't have good water-type damage afterwards. Dialeki here is a physical set. You do have Electro Web for speed control, but you're generally relying on physical damage, and this is so that you get maximum value from Bounce and Assurance, which turns into Max Airstream and Max Darkness, respectively. So like I said, you could go like Aleki Kyogre, Aleki Calyrex as your leads, Airstream to give Kyogre a speed boost immediately, or Max Darkness to break through sashes and lower your opponent's special defense, for example. This also has a better matchup into opposing Kyogres because of the Assault Vest and the physical Max Lightning rather than special Max Lightning, especially given how many Assault Vest Kyogres are in the format right now. To round out the team, you've got Lumberry Charizard. The Lumberry here is really helpful into Venusaurs, right? This is just super anti-Venusaur, anti-Sun, especially with like Whimsicott, Charizard, Kyogre, and Calyrex. And so this gives you a better matchup into Sleep Powder. And it's Heat Wave, Hurricane, Solar Beam, and Protect, right? So the Solar Beam exists, like I mentioned, for max overgrowths into Gastrodon. So much of what this team wants to do is just set yourself up for late game Water Spouts and Astral Barrages. And so with triple Grass here, it's really hard for Gastrodon to ever really actually come out into a battle. Whimsicott here is Energy Ball, Sunny Day, Tailwind, and Cotton Spore, and it's max HP. So Cotton Spore here is really nice because this is really valuable into opposing Tailwind teams. The idea is that after Tailwind, you with Whimsicott can then Cotton Spore your opponent's Pokemon to ensure things like Kyogre just outspeed. So you have two means of speed control here, and this makes it really hard for your opponent to really move before you. And then you've got, Energy Ball for Gastrodon and Sunny Day. I think this team actually took me a good amount of practice games to pick up, and I definitely struggled a good amount with it, and I still haven't, I feel like I've fully gotten the grasp of it. I really recommend you watching Nathan's games from regionals to see how we piloted it to a second place finish. And I think the things you want to watch out for, like I lost to a bunch of Trick Grimmsnarls, especially with lagging tail. I lost to Trick Room just being set up immediately on turn 1 from Pokemon I didn't expect it to set up Trick Room like Whimsicott on a relatively fast team. And so you really have to be careful for those, right? Because this team can win super quickly, but it can also lose immediately, basically off a bad turn 1. And so those are just a couple of things to highlight. But overall, try to set up Tailwind if you are going up against relatively fast Pokemon. Otherwise, you could just go with a combination of Regieleki, Charizard, Kyogre, Calyrex, and Whimsicott. Plus, any of these Pokemon are decent as leads, and you want to just push the tempo immediately. So looking forward to trying it out, especially featuring Clefairy a little bit. And let's get started. All right, it's going to be Lunala Groudon for the first game here today with Regieleki, Venusaur, Grimmsnarl, and Incineroar. So, interestingly enough, no Charizard. Now, there are a bunch of ways we can approach this. I played against Lunala Groudon in practice, and they led Lunala Venusaur, and it gave me a lot of trouble. Because we're Specs Calyrex here, Astral Barrage can really just wreck things immediately. So one mode I can go with is actually just Clefairy Calyrex and just Helping Hand Astral Barrage in the early game. And I think I'm okay with that idea. With Kyogre and Charizard in the back, we can use Charizard to take advantage of their Sun potentially. Clefairy here is pretty nice for, after you pressure as well if they set up Trick Room with Lunala. So, what are their leads I'm most scared of? I think Regieleki plus something is a little bit scary, but I don't know. I guess it's not that tough. Because the Friend Guard here is really valuable in protecting Calyrex. So, I think one of the things is, as I was practicing with this team, I wasn't really incorporating the Clefairy in as well as I really should have. So hopefully I've been able to improve on that a little bit. We'll see what we can do here. But in this matchup, it's interesting, right? Because my opponent does have the pressure of Trick Room, and given how hyper offensive this team is, if Trick Room goes up against you, you're normally going to be in really bad shape. Clefairy can turn that from, hey, this is really bad, to, hey, this is actually really good, because then you can just go for after you and pick up knockouts under Trick Room. So, like I mentioned, the general goal with this team is to always move before your opponent, and you can either accomplish that just with really fast Pokemon, Tailwind and Cotton Spore from Whimsicott, and then after you from Clefairy if your opponent does indeed set up Trick Room. But let's see what they go with. Regieleki Venusaur. I think this is a really good lead by them, actually. Okay. So what do I want to do on turn 1? I think I'm okay going for a Follow Me into an Astral Barrage. I'm just somewhat interested in the idea of Helping Hand Astral Barrage instead. Depends on the Venusaur set. Helping Hand's risky for a bunch of reasons. Regieleki here could just be physical and then max darkness in a Calyrex. The thing is, Follow Me is so obvious here. That's why I'm intrigued by Helping Hand or, I'm honestly kind of down for this. The reason I'm down for this is because if I can just one-shot Dynamax Regieleki on turn 1 of the game, I think I just win immediately. I think this is a great lead by them, though, to their credit, because I think there are a lot of different combinations here that wouldn't fare as well, like a Lunala lead, for example. Oh, they actually go for a Max Venusaur. Okay. That's generally okay with me. I guess the interesting thing my main question now is the set on the Regieleki, but this is really gonna hurt. It could just be like Electro Web, G-Max, Vine Lash, but the thing is we have Friend Guard support here. Okay, Aleki just protects. That's not a bad turn 1 then. I mean, this is a ton of damage onto Venusaur. Wonder if it's Max Ooze. Is that down to... that was a crit as well, okay. And it's down to Focus Sash. That makes sense. And they do go for Ooze. Okay. Yeah, that was... I mean, it was a lucky crit, but I don't actually think it matters because I think another Astral Barrage from Choice Specs would KO anyway. This also means that we know there's no Choice Specs on Aleki, right? So this next turn now, I can just go for Astral Barrage. Ooh, you would think I should follow me here, but I actually think Protect is the right call because Aleki attacks first anyway. And I want Friend Guard here to ensure Calyrex survives an attack from, like, a +1 G-Max Vine Lash from Venusaur. And with Friend Guard, I think we should be able to accomplish that with Electro Web. I guess the only downside here is that they could switch Aleki out in a Groudon. But I think Friend Guard here is just so valuable for us. And they actually withdraw Venusaur. Okay. I'll take that. Into Groudon, maybe? Yeah, I think, like, this is just Calyrex putting in a ton of work right now. Okay. Yeah, now, like, I should survive any attack from the Regieleki thanks to Friend Guard. Yeah, they just go for Electro Web. Perfect. And this is a Specs Astral Barrage now, right? Which should just one-shot Regieleki. I mainly don't know, like, the Groudon speed stat here. Yeah, they're Life Orb. Okay, cool. And that makes sense as soon as we see Focus Sash confirmed. Like, actually, the crit did matter in the sense that, like, yeah, 2 Astral Barrages would have probably gotten the knockout, but I wouldn't have known the item, you know, on Venusaur, I think, if we didn't get the crit. I don't know my calcs there super well, but I assume they wouldn't be brought down to 1 HP, and then I'd have to be worried about Sash Aleki, right? But as soon as I see the Sash on Venusaur, I don't have to be as concerned. So, your max speed on the Groudon, you should outspeed Calyrex, right? I don't know how fast Groudon is, because what I could do here is just withdraw out into Kyogre immediately, but I don't love that. I think the right action to take is actually get Charizard and Kyogre out next to each other. I don't even mind losing both Pokemon here, right? Yeah, and there's no guarantee Groudon's max speed here, so I'm actually down just to follow me in Astral Barrage. Because I think Charizard plus Kyogre wins me the game, right? Because I change the weather, and then I can just max Airstream Water Spout, and there's no way for my opponent to come back from that. So Sludge Bomb goes into Clefairy, gets the KO there. Yep. And we are faster. Okay, that should just be a double knockout. So you can see how valuable Clefairy was as a lead option for us here with Calyrex, right? It essentially allowed us to just pick up every knockout cleanly with Calyrex and also not worry about Trick Room as much. Because if they had went with like the Lunala angle, for example, then I could just go for something like Helping Hand Astral Barrage immediately and just get the knockout onto that and potentially its partner as well. So that's 3 KOs for Calyrex now. We'll bring in Kyogre, and if Lunala is their last one. Actually, I want to go into Charizard so I can just Airstream plus Astral Barrage. Yeah. We'll let Calyrex take all 4 KOs here with Choice Specs in this game. And that's the strength of something like Calyrex, right? So Clefairy is really unique as a support partner because, you know, obviously has redirection, but Friend Guard is such a valuable ability here. So we're just going to max, Airstream, and Astral Barrage. Yeah. And this is the strength of Specs Calyrex. So I think what helped is like the lack of an Aleki Dynamax on turn 1. Honestly, Aleki Dynamaxing just going for Lightning immediately could have been kind of scary. Although that's why I went for Helping Hand plus Astral Barrage, because the idea was to get a one-hit KO onto Dynamax Aleki if they were in Assault Vest. But without knowing the Aleki set there, turn 1 can be a little bit risky, because I suppose they could go for like Max Airstream, or, you know, if they have Max Darkness, that's a little bit scary, especially because I didn't Dynamax Calyrex or go for Follow Me on turn 1. I'm not going to Dynamax Calyrex there, but the lack of Follow Me, I think, makes things a little bit scarier. But Clefairy gets to come out and really support its friend in Calyrex, and so I'm really happy about that start. So let's keep things going. Next game here, and we are up against a Groudon, Venusaur, Charizard, Zacian team. I mean, this is basically Rinya's son, but Grimmsnarl is replaced and there's Venusaur instead. generally my approach in these matchups is Whimsicott, Charizard, Kyogre, Calyrex. And, you know, this team just has so much anti-Gastrodon, right? You have 3 grass-type attacks with these 3. So I think this is just by far the best approach into this Sun composition. And I think I'm down to just lead Whimsicott, Charizard, and clean up with Calyrex plus Kyogre. I think you could also go Whimsicott, Calyrex as a lead, but I'd rather use Calyrex as cleanup, and because I think the snowball potential is really good for it. The problem is if I lead it, I think it's very difficult to actually secure a one-hit knockout. And if I'm not getting a one-hit knockout, then, you know, it's very likely I'll just lose Calyrex in the early game, and I don't think that's worth it. It's Groudon plus Venusaur. Okay. So turn 1, like a Tailwind and G-Max Wildfire immediately works. I think I'm okay with that. I guess it's really interesting if you max guard Venusaur, but if you max guard, then, you know, what are you doing, like rock sliding? I could also Heat Wave here. But I think pushing the tempo in this game early on is fine. And the reason for that is because normally you'd be worried about Gastrodon given that I have Kyogre in the back, but in this matchup I'm not really worried about it because I have Energy Ball, right? So if you switch in Gastrodon, well, I just snipe it off with Energy Ball, Water Spout becomes single target. I think the main question I have here is what is the item on Groudon? Like, for example, are you Assault Vest or Citrus Berry? I mean, Assault Vest is normally the item I expect here, and I think it's actually fine to go up against. If you're not Assault Vest, it's even worse for my opponent because with Tailwind and Wildfire, right, Kyogre just comes in, clicks Water Spout, and then Energy Ball the Venusaur slot, essentially. And then the late game against Zacian and Gastrodon is pretty simple because we have the Calyrex Shadow Rider. So, yep, they're just going to max turn 1. And that's fine. I think one thing you have to be willing to do when you're using this team is actually just trade Charizard just to get Wildfire off. And in this game, I'm trading Charizard for Venusaur, Tailwind up, and free switching into Kyogre, essentially. Should they target Charizard, they might double up onto Whimsicott instead. But the other really nice thing is there's Lumberry here on Charizard, so I don't have to worry about something like a Sleep Powder into Charizard and then Groudon targeting the Whimsicott slot. Okay, so there's Wildfire into the Venusaur slot. There's Focus Sash as expected. They are going to go for Sleep Powder on a Charizard. I'm totally okay with that because that's why we have Lumberry. This team is really super anti-Sun and has really good matchup into it, in my opinion. So they doubled up into it. Okay, makes sense. That's why I was thinking, like, Max Guard Energy Ball turn 1 is interesting, right? But there's a decent amount that can go wrong there. But, you know, Max Guard Energy Ball into turn 2 Tailwind G-Max Wildfire is pretty cool. And because we have Sash on Whimsicott, I actually think it could be worthwhile. But if they just double up onto Whimsicott instead, it's, like, super, super bad for me. So I don't find it worth it. Because the reality is now I have Wildfire up, right? So Groudon's taking some damage every turn. And I just get a full powered Life Orb Kyogre in under Tailwind, right? And that's going to be pretty powerful here. I guess it's interesting if my opponent actually brings in, like, Incineroar, because then you can fake out Kyogre and Max Quake. I think, like, if they actually just have Zacian plus Gastrodon in this game, I should just win. Yeah, and there's Gastrodon. Perfect. So now we just go for Energy Ball into Gastrodon, Water Spout onto the Groudon. And this is what I mean by this team can win in just a couple of turns. So, Energy Ball, Spout. And the nice thing is, like, let's say you protect Gastrodon and Spout doesn't KO Groudon because you're Assault Vest, then I just bring out Calyrex Shadow Rider, and Calyrex should be able to snowball the game thanks to Specs Astro Barrage. And there's no Protect from Gastrodon. Beautiful. And no Rindo Berry, so there's Energy Ball. It does survive. Okay. I don't think I'm at risk of taking a double knockout, though, and all we're doing is just, like, putting everything at range for Calyrex to KO, and it doesn't look like it's actually Assault Vest on Groudon. Although, actually, I'm not 100% sure there, because they didn't get a special defense boost, and we had the Rain up, so maybe we just KO even if you are Assault Vest there. Yeah, and they just go for Yawn. Perfect. So it's like, you know, I actually shouldn't be, like, super shocked about Gastrodon surviving, I suppose, because we're not max special attack. Like, we don't have any special attack investment on Whimsicott, but it's fine, because another turn of Wildfire just finishes it off, and now I have Specs Calyrex in the back. So Gastrodon always faints after this turn. If you have Zacian here, it takes a little bit of chip damage. Calyrex comes out, clicks Specs Astral Barrage, and the game's just over. Oh, and it's actually Charizard in the back. Okay, I definitely did not expect that. That makes things even easier, I would argue. 2 turns of Tailwind, Drowsy. I don't even really need to Energy Ball. Cotton Spore here and switching out into Calyrex, I think, is basically a guaranteed win. Because Gastrodon always faints after Wildfire. Yeah, even if you pick up a double knockout here, it means I get Cotton Spore off against Charizard, and then Kyogre just clicks Water Spout to win the game. So I don't think there's anything they can do to cover for this. And I'm just switching out because obviously I got hit by Yawn. So yeah, they go for Protect. That's fine. Calyrex now just has Astral Barrage into you. And Gastro protects, but with Wildfire, I don't think that's ever the correct play because it doesn't... Like, your Gastrodon's always fainting after their turn, right? So you might as well just get an attack off. Yeah. It would have been better off maybe clicking Ice Beam or Yawn there, but since we knew Gastrodon was always fainting here, if Charizard protects, okay, then Calyrex comes out safely, gets the KO. And if you don't protect, it means I get Cotton Spore off, Gastrodon still faints, Kyogre wins. And we knew Focus Sash was on Venusaur, and you're not Assault Vest on Charizard here either, so I think that covers for every option. But now we can just go for single target, Specs Astral Barrage, and that should be enough to get the KO. So, yeah. I think the Groudon matchups generally are really favorable for this team because you have Charizard to take advantage of the Groudon, you have Cotton Spore and Tailwind, and then you also have Kyogre plus Calyrex. And so, I think when Nathan used this at Regionals, it was just a really, really smart meta call in particular because obviously there were still so many Groudon teams running around, and this team makes it really difficult for them to really do too much, right? Because you basically have really safe lines that you can take, and turn 1 I traded Charizard for Venusaur, but that trade is super worthwhile because of all the grass type attacks on Whimsicott and on Charizard and Calyrex, and it just means Kyogre can come in with so much more ease, right? And being Life Orb modest is such a big difference as opposed to something like Timid or modest Assault Vest. That just allows for maximum damage output into opposing Groudons. So yeah, either way, it's been a fast couple ones, so let's look for another. Alright, third match here, and it is actually a pretty similar team in terms of Kyogre Charizard. Actually, that's it. I don't know why I said it's pretty similar. They have Shedinja, though. Shedinja, you are one tricky bug. Don't like bugs. What do I want to max here? I think it's Regieleki, right? Because I can Airstream in Darkness. To me, Regieleki Calyrex is interesting. I just, Grimmsnarl is one of my least favorite Pokemon to go up against when using this team. So I'm somewhat intrigued by a Clefairy Calyrex lead, but my fear here is my opponent getting good speed control off. Could be Kyogre Dynamax. We could Hailstorm to deal with Shedinja, but Safety Goggles is an item to be worried about. I'm just really nervous about Trick and Ally Switch. Okay, I'm down for a Clefairy Calyrex lead with Regieleki and Kyogre in the back. I think dropping Whimsicott feels a little bit awkward here because what I'm nervous about is if they actually lead Charizard, but I feel like leading Charizard into this team is pretty rare. Plus, if you do, I have Specs Helping Hand Astral Barrage immediately to pressure on turn 1. Charizard, Zacian, Kyogre is pretty interesting in itself. Okay, it's just Grim and Kyogre. I mean, Light Screen here is really scary, right? You could just Light Screen Dynamax, Max Geyser. You have Origin Pulse, Water Spout. It could be Trick here, but the thing is, me going for Follow Me is normally such an obvious play that I kind of want to just go for Helping Hand plus Astral Barrage here. Because I expect, I don't know, Grim to Light Screen here. Oh, it might be Specs Ogre. That's the other thing. Or sorry, yeah, Scarf Ogre. Scarf Ogre's fine, right? Because I have Friend Guard. Okay, I'm faster. Cool. I think that's a really good trade then. Oh, you're definitely Assault Vest. If you're Assault Vest, where do I go from here? It's bring out Physical, Regieleki, Max Lightning, right? They should Origin Pulse now. Maybe set up Reflect. I think this turn I'm down to Protect and Astral Barrage. Basically, the logic here is I'm not going to get a KO onto either, obviously, with Helping Hand. Oh, they're going to commit Dynamax. That is really interesting. It makes sense if you have Zacian and Shedinja in the back, because it's basically like, well, I don't have anything else to really max, so I really expect those two in the back now. Here's the thing, though. Like, turn 1 confirmed to me that you are Assault Vest on Kyogre, so I can just bring in Assault Vest Aleki and then just Helping Hand Max Lightning to KO you. I'm just worried about a Shedinja endgame now. Especially because I committed Calyrex so early on in the game. Okay, they don't go for Reflect. Max Geyser. Yep. Oh, it's a Clefairy. Okay, I wonder if they... And then what, Spirit Break into Calyrex? Ah, you have Foul Play. That makes sense. No, I don't think we go into Aleki. I actually think we go into Kyogre first. Because I don't want to Dynamax yet. I just don't know if you're going to be Goggles or Sash on Shedinja is my problem. But basically here I can go for a Follow Me into a Water Spout really safely. Get the KO onto Grim, chip away at the Kyogre a little bit more. Then basically I want to see if they bring in Zacian or Shedinja. It's going to be Shedinja, and I think I'm going to have to play against Ally Switch Mind Games, which I absolutely despise. Yeah, they go for Scary Face. That's fine. Okay. The thing is, I like now lean towards leading Clefairy into Grimmsnarl teams because otherwise, Trick, like, I've been messed up by Trick lagging tail way too many times. It's been really frustrating. Okay, so now this next turn is essentially two things. Like, one... First of all, do you bring in Zacian? Okay, they bring in Zacian. That's really good for me. If you're bringing Zacian, though, like... Max Airstream into Kyogre Water Spout works. Actually, they have Light Screen up. I guess there's a possibility there's no Shedinja in the back, but that would absolutely shock me. Basically, this turn, it's like, do you switch Kyogre out into Shedinja? Dynamax. Lightning into Kyogre, Physical, and then Protect. That's what I want to go for. Okay, they stay in. That's really good. That's already really good, but I might still be eating up a Behemoth Blade on Aleki. And this Aleki only has 28 HP EVs, and so that would just KO me. If they have Quick Attack here, Behemoth Blade into Quick Attack's also just really bad for me. I could have just Origin Pulse with Kyogre, but the Kyogre doesn't really have any bulk, so I was worried about just eating up a Play Rough. And because they have Light Screen, I can't just go for Airstream Water Spout, right? Okay, we do get the one-hit KO there. Yeah, I do think it's decently likely Kyogre's getting targeted here. Or sorry, Aleki. And I expect Shedinja in the back. So I should have conserved Calyrex for the end game, not the early game. Them being Assault Vest and then having Foul Play and Light Screen was a bad combination for me to run into. But they do play Rough into Kyogre. Okay, that gives us a really good shot then. I have Max Airstream into Water Spout this next turn. Shedinja, right? Oh, it's Incineroar. That's not necessarily good for me, though. Because you can just fake out Play Rough Kyogre now. I do think it's correct to go for the double Protect here. Because if we get it, we kind of just win. I don't expect Electric Terrain Max Lightning to one-shot Zacian, right? I'm intimidated. There's no way. Yeah, I'm gonna go Lightning Protect. This at least gives me a chance of a double Protect. Okay, I don't get it, but they could still misplay Rough as well. The thing is, I don't think I win the 1v1 against Incineroar, right? I guess I also could have just clicked Behemoth Blade here into the Regieleki slot. Oh, they did. I should have just Airstreamed there. Oh, but even if I Airstream, we'll see if Regieleki can survive this. Okay, we survive. Nice. I think I win the game off. No. It's too early to say that. Because rain stops. I can now max Airstream into Water Spout, though. And Light Screen wears off. Okay, which is really good. Actually, with that, then, that should be enough. Yeah, we can just Airstream into Incineroar. And Spout. What do I have to be worried about here? Zacian Protect, that's fine. I get the speed boost. We KO. Incin Protect is pretty rare here. If they have Quick Attack Zacian, we're still also okay here. And they Protect. Beautiful. Yeah, I think they should have just committed to play Rough there, because you knew I Protected last turn, right? So my only out there was either a double Protect or a Play Rough miss. And admittedly, you know, the odds of that aren't terrible. But they're not something I really want to bank on. Like, it's still not great for me, right? And it's more in my opponent's favor there. So sometimes, like, you just have to, you just make the play, right? Because you don't know how bulky the Regieleki is going to be in this spot. So, we get Water Spout off, that's a KO, and that's going to be game over. Yeah, like, the Incineroar over Shedinja here, we get the crit there. I mean, if they were Assault Vest, like, maybe it matters, but you're not KOing, you're KOing Regieleki, but you're not KOing Kyogre, right? And then Kyogre just Water Spouts to win the game anyway. So, I think what I was really worried about here is if they had Shedinja and they swapped like Max Kyogre out into Shedinja, I think I actually would have been in so much trouble. Yeah, now we should just win the game. I don't know if like Wild Charge, I'm actually down to Electro Web here. Like normally you shouldn't go for moves that miss. I mean, Kyogre just outspeeds here anyway, right? So it doesn't matter. Yeah. But what I was going to say is, if, like, I somehow Wild Charge self-KO'd myself... But, like, Kyogre always just beats the Zacian anyway, since we have max speed here. Yeah, so I don't think the Regieleki's move choice actually really mattered. That one was definitely, I think, the scariest battle, just because the pressure of Shedinja alone was really tough, and I was even thinking about maxing Kyogre just to max Hailstorm to scare off Shedinja. But, yeah... I think this Grimmsnarl is not one of my favorite Pokemon to play against when using this team in best of one, just because I think Grimmsnarl is like it has a lot of good sets. So it can be Light Clay, dual screens, it can be Trick Iron Ball, Trick Lagging Tail, Fake Out Focus Sash, and not knowing which variant your opponent is running makes it a little bit harder to play with this team, because Grimmsnarl has so many means of speed control, whether it be Scary Face, Thunder Wave, Trick Iron Ball, Trick Lagging Tail, and all of those add up to be kind of a nightmare. So yeah, but we managed to eke out with the win here. Last one here, and it is a pretty standard Zacian Kyogre team. Okay. They have Tail in the Whimsicott, which is scary, though. Like, I generally like the Regieleki approach in this matchup. It's weird because, like, it's unintuitive to bring Charizard into a matchup like this, but with Sunny Day on Whimsicott, it actually makes sense. I could go Whims Charizard, Kyogre, Calyrex. Rillaboom's a pretty big issue. What would I do if I were my opponent's shoes? Maybe like... Oh, I guess it's interesting because you can't bring Zapdos, Kyogre, Zacian, Whimsicott, and Rillaboom. Rillaboom Zapdos scares me, honestly. Clefairy Calyrex is interesting. Calyrex. Like, I feel like I need to match their Tailwind, right? I'm gonna go Whimsicott. Whimsicott, Regieleki, Kyogre, Calyrex. I kind of wish I gave Clefairy another shot here. I don't know how to slot it in well here, though, but... Like, I think Here, I'm probably not going to showcase the team at its full strength because I'm sure there are some good game plans against this. I think the main thing is them having Whimsicott plus Zapdos, because you have to see like Grimmsnarl instead of the Whimsicott. So I feel inclined to bring my Whimsicott just to match a potential Tailwind. And I go with Whimsicott Kyogre, which is, I think, as good as I'll get here. Yeah. So I want to just Tailwind, Max, Lightning. I mean, we're physical Lecky here, so this should work. I'm trying to think what like surprises could catch me off guard here. I mean, Kyogre pivoting out immediately into Rillaboom would work. Kyogre can also just be ultra bulky here. Oh, if you're Trick Room Whimsicott here, by the way, I'm just done for it. Like, the game's just over on turn 1. Okay, they Dynamax Kyogre. The thing is, most of the time you expect, like, I expect this to be Assault Vest Kyogre. Because they probably think they can take Max Lightning easily. The other good thing is, even if we don't KO them, we put them in a range where maybe Astral Barrage can finish it off, and I can snowball the game with Calyrex Shadow Rider. But if Trick Room comes up on Whimsicott, like, the game's just over on turn 1. Well done. That's a really cool play, because it covered, basically, like, this has to be Assault Vest Kyogre, right? But basically what they're saying is, okay, well, if you're physical, I'm going to just Charm you, reduce your damage output, and because I'm Assault Vest, I can take it if you're a special Kyogre as well. That's an excellent play. Really well done. And that's really bad news for me. Now, the thing is, I do have Special Max Lightning, and Geyser might not one-shot us. Yeah, so it might still be okay. I think we go for Energy Ball here, and now I go for our Special Max Lightning instead. Because they might Charm me again, but, okay, they just... Ah! Charm and Light Screen! Wow. That's really cool. That's such sad damage. That's an awesome Whimsicott set. Like, I'm never gonna predict that in a best of 1. I think Sunny Day Max Lightning was also acceptable, because I don't need to move before Kyogre if I'm setting up the sun. Yeah. Wow, what that's awesome. What a cool Whimsicott set there. Like, I'm totally okay losing to something like that. Just, you know, that's the really cool thing about Whimsicott, because when you see, you know, I normally expect Tailwind, Moonblast, Protect, and a 4th attack, right? Here we've got Light Screen and Charm, presumably Tailwind. I brought out Calyrex. Okay, I have Leaf Storm here, but they have Light Screen. Like, I'm just gonna do such little damage. I think it's actually maybe fine to just Sunny Day Astral Barrage then. Hope that they target Calyrex, because they're not gonna expect Sunny Day here. So hey, your Whimsicott's got Text, I've got Text too. Because I'm not gonna give up. Yeah, Calyrex is Specs Calyrex is a Pokemon that has immense comeback potential. Yeah, the idea is to try to pick up a double knockout with Astral Barrage next turn. Okay, they Moonblast into us. Good. And Geyser. Good. Should survive this in the sun, right? Beautiful. Okay, let's see if we can pull off this win then, given that early start. Okay. What's the situation? Light Screen. Now this guy's gonna reveal Cotton Spore as well, and then I really cry. I'm gonna go for my own Cotton Spore here and just Astral Barrage, cover for any shenanigans. Okay. I mean, this is a double KO, but the thing is, if they have Rillaboom, Rillaboom just comes out, KOs Calyrex, and I lose the game. And they Tailwind, yeah. I'd be shocked if they didn't have Rillaboom in the back. Like, basically, I needed to get a big enough lead with my Regieleki, and I didn't accomplish that at all, because they had Charm and Light Screen, which is such a cool combination. It has to be Rillaboom Zacian here in the back, right? But if for some reason we're Zacian Zapdos, I could actually win the game. That's our only bet, though. So let's see. Do you have Rillaboom? Yeah. GG. Wow, what a cool Whimsicott set. How would I play this any differently? I do think... Well, the thing is, Sunny Day, like, it would be bad if my opponent just goes Tailwind turn 1 and they have Taunt, right? So, like, I want to at least make sure I can move before Kyogre. It's just one of those sets where, like, yeah, I just lose to Charm plus Light Screen. Not much I can do there, honestly. And given that it was Assault Vest Kyogre, like, I can't really bring Charizard either. So, you know, an adjustment could be, like, Clefairy Regieleki, and then go, like, I'm never going to expect Charm, but then they would, what, Tailwind, would you Water Spell? No, you would still max Kyogre. Yeah, the adjustment to make here is actually Clefairy Regieleki lead. Is there any way I win this? You just glide Calyrex now? Yeah. I'll play this turn out because there's some weird, bizarre reason they could target Whimsicott. But if Calyrex goes down, I should just lose the game immediately. So yeah. You can actually just fake out Whimsicott, Behemoth Blade, Calyrex too. Yeah, that's the right play. I got nothing for that. But that's, like, I love that though, right? Because it's like, yeah, you know, the team looks really standard. And on paper... You know, if they're just a normal Whimsicott with Tailwind, Moonblast Protect, and, you know, like a filler move that doesn't contribute much to the matchup, you know, something like... Well, actually, Taunt would contribute to the matchup because you could play the Taunt Wars with Whimsicott. Yeah, now the game's just over. That's just so cool. And, like, it really goes to show the impressive duo of, like, because normally you expect to see Grimmsnarl on those teams, right? But Whimsicott with Light Screen and Charm can accomplish what Grimmsnarl essentially likes to do, which is decrease your stats, right? Or decrease your damage output, right? But you get the extra cherry on top of Tailwind, which, you know, allows you to outspeed for the next couple of turns. Now, Grimmsnarl can get speed control, but, you know, it's normally on to only a singular Pokemon versus Whimsicott, which can Tailwind and set up the entire team. So, yeah. Like I said, I think the adjustment I would make in a best of 3 there, if I were expecting Whimsicott and Kyogre again, now knowing their Whimsicott slet, is a Regieleki plus Clefairy lead, because Clefairy has Friend Guard for the Assault Vest Regieleki. I can pressure with the Follow Me to potentially dissuade them from going for Charm. And then turn 1's interesting because, like, they see Clefairy in a best of 3. You know, would you really click Charm once again now knowing that I have Clefairy out? Maybe not. So what I could do is just actually just, like, Dynamax Regieleki, Helping Hand, Physical Max Lightning, which would one-shot Kyogre if they don't go for a Charm. So that's a potential adjustment. But really cool Whimsicott set there. Really don't mind taking that loss. Like, yeah, it's just great innovation in team building there. So, yeah. That's going to be it for this one, so thank you so much as always for watching. Thank you to Nathan once again for the team. Really glad to bring out Clefairy in a couple of the battles today. So leave a like if you enjoy. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all soon. Alright, peace.